everybody. How are you? How are you? I'm so excited to have Deb on. Welcome to the Green Table Mom. And Deb is about to hop on with me. Hi, Deb. Look at you there. Hold on a second here. Let's see. Let's see if I'm bringing her on. You know how technology is, people. Hey, Deb.
How
Is it
are
working?
you? Hallelujah, it worked, right? Social media,
Girl,
technology.
I'm like sweating privately. I'm like, oh, I hope this works. Oh my gosh. How,
Oh,
how
thanks
are
so
you
much.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about our chat today.
I am. And you know what? We should let people know that it's just going to be 15 minutes. So don't feel like you're going to be on like an hour with us. Deb and I are all about keeping it simple and straight to the point. So that being said, Deb, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the audience because you have such a wealth of knowledge. I'm always amazed at what you're working on.
Oh, thank you. I know I'm wondering if I'm amazing or just crazy, right? It's a fine line. Well, so I have three kids. I'll start from there. And I say kids with quotations because my oldest is 22 and I have twins turning 21, which is pretty crazy to even say some of those numbers because I feel like it was just yesterday they were babies. And I just felt like as a new mom, the ball was dropped on me. And it's amazing that, 20 years later, it's still the
Still the
same, right?
same.
Parents are still feeling like they don't know what they're doing and who can we turn to and who has the answers. So, I started this company, Precious Moments Babies, 17 years ago because of a need that I felt I needed it for myself and no parent should go without the help. And we built this amazing village of PNSWs and nurses and doulas and breastfeeding consultants and sleep consultants, really here to be that village for new and expecting parents right until their little ones go to school. And what I
Yes.
love is collaborating with people like you because we don't do it all and we know who the experts are. So we refer people all the time, having a nutritionist in your corner, having a breastfeeding consultant in your corner. We want to make sure that there's a huge village out here. And Dr. Facebook and Dr. Google might not be the best place to be getting
Yeah.
that information, right?
And sometimes even when you go on there, you don't even know which link to click on because it's such contradictory informations. Hi, let's do some
Margaret.
people. Marg is on and Louise. Hi, nice to see you guys. Sorry, I'm like without my glasses and I'm like looking at the screen.
No, I love
Yeah,
it. The collaborations are so important and it's
village,
important for parents
absolutely,
to know, right?
absolutely. And I know, so I know part of that practice and that what you do there is also one small, very small piece is sleep consulting. So what does that look like for parents? Like when parents come to you, what are you seeing? What are they asking you typically?
Yeah, we have two different types of parents. Parents that are coming to us for the first time. Maybe they have one or two kids and they've never really known how to deal with sleep. Maybe they have a toddler whose sleep is totally down the toilet and they have a new baby and now they're finding that they're struggling. Sometimes we have someone right off the bat that wants to start good sleep habits, but really they're coming from a place of they just don't know what to do to get their little one to sleep better. And then we have the repeat clients that, we build a relationship with, and this is their second or third child, and they just want to work with us again because they trust us and we've been giving them the tools. That's the thing, is giving parents the tools to be able to know what to do instead of guessing their way through parenting.
For sure. For sure. And when it comes to sleep, so what would be like your top three things that you find, no matter what kind of parent that let's say it's the parent that comes to you that feels like their toddler sleeps kind of down the toilet, they're getting their second. What are they coming to you with? Like, what is their like, oh, Deb, I need help with this? Because
Yeah.
I'm finding when I talk to moms, like they just assume that it's just this like, I don't know, this crazy rite of passage that you're not supposed to have sleep and your kids don't sleep for the first like 5 years. I'm like, who told you that lie? Because I had a sleep consultant. Like I know all about needing that sleep. So tell me more about that.
Well, the first thing that's important for parents to understand is that sleep training has really popped up quite a bit over the last 5 years. And it's almost become a milestone, which it shouldn't be. It's not something that every parent has to do, like, your baby's rolling over, check. We started solids, check. Now we sleep trained, check. It's a tool for if and when you need it. If you don't ever need it, then keep going on your way. But for the parents that are struggling and feeling like maybe I can do this for a month or two, but I'm not going to be able to do this for 2 or 3 years. So first off, knowing that it's a tool if and when you need it. But I got to tell you, anyone that works with children, And it's amazing when we get we get clients who are doctors, we get clients that are teachers, we get clients that are social workers. And when I tell them some of the information, they're like, I know this. Why can't I apply it? Why can't I apply it to myself? I got to tell you, schedules, routines, and consistency, that is going to be what gets you in a better place with sleep. People think that sleep is always about sleep. There's something going on with the actual sleep of the baby when it's really something else that's impacting it. It could be the room environment that your little one's in. It could be the schedule that they're on in the daytime. You know, we're going to talk about eating too, because nutrition is a big one. If your baby is not eating properly or toddler is not eating properly in the day, they're not going to be able to sleep properly overnight, and that's huge. So there's so many things that you want to make sure you've got in place with your little one before you jump into the sleep training piece. And the sleep training just means I put my baby down and they're crying. What do I do? If you haven't worked on everything else, you're going to fail or you're going to second guess yourself. So schedules, routine, consistency, huge, huge understanding for getting better sleep.
Oh, and it's so true, because I just had because that's just my personality, right? To have that schedule of doing set things. So with my first, it was very easy to sleep train him. But my second, it was my scheduling of, I thought, like, I was trying to get him not to nap in the afternoon because I thought that was going to get him to not sleep at night. And it did the complete opposite. Like, it blew up in my face. So when I called my sleep consultant, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? She's like, you just have one small tweak. He needs to have, like, we call our cat nap. Like, instead of allowing him to sleep for like an hour or two, then you allow him to sleep for maybe 15 to 30 minutes. And it was like magic. Because you're right, Deb. Like, some people are okay with this. I need sleep to function and be pleasant and contribute to the world, which is why what you do is just amazing and so helpful. So on the other end, once parents have figured out what's gone wrong or what they've been able to fix, what do they say when they come back to you at the end of it, when they start actually getting sleep? What do they say to you? I know they must follow.
Well, there is. I got to tell you, our program is very holistic. Being doing this for 17 years, we cover all the bases. And when parents come back, some of the fears were, can my baby handle this? What if my baby can't do this? What if I can't do this?
Yes.
You know, how do I know the baby's eaten enough? How do I know they're not crying overnight because something's wrong? So when we do our program and we talk about everything from a holistic approach first and make sure we've covered all our bases, parents come back and realize that our consult working together wasn't just about sleep. Now they're empowered with knowing, when should my baby be going down at a specific age for a nap? How long should I expect them to be sleeping? When should they be eating? How much should they be eating? And how do I know if they've eaten enough during that time? What if my little one's going through teething? They have all these answered. So this isn't so much a sleep consultation that we teach. It's really an everything consultation. We want parents to know in every given day what to expect, so that when you have an off day, you can troubleshoot and know, okay, you know what, my baby's off today because, you know what, we came home late from the park and they really didn't eat well, so now he's struggling with his afternoon nap. So, you know, that way they're able to pick out why there's problems. But when every day is different from the next, you never really know what the problem is, and that's where parents are spiraling and trying everything. So I can tell you that after we're done working together, parents are so amazed at how well their baby took to the program, how well they are doing as parents. They're getting to eat and sleep and do all these incredible things they never thought they could do. So they just feel way more empowered to be a good parent.
And I love what you said there, Deb. You talked about this holistic approach. You can't get that from Google, right? So Google, you know, sleep training baby, and they tell you one very narrow perspective of it. And there's all these moving pieces that, you know, you're able to help those parents with, all those questions that they have and all those moving pieces.
That's right.
So one parent I know would ask, when is the earliest that I can start expecting my child to be able to sleep through the night? Like, is a newborn is it too new, or is it okay to start looking at that? Like, what age would you say? Like, or what are the signs? Maybe is a better question. Like the signals.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I get the question of when is the best time to sleep train, and that's a loaded question because that's really depending on when the parent's ready for it. And this is really specific. It's the parent is ready for it. If your baby is 12 months old and your baby can sleep through the night, no problem, but the parent is not ready and wants to co-sleep and wants to feed on demand, it's not going to work.
No.
Right?
Mm-mm.
So when the parent is ready is number one. The parent has to be ready. In terms of safety, so there's a couple things. We never start any kind of sleep teaching before 2 weeks or before breastfeeding is established. So sleep teaching just means getting a good schedule, ensuring good feeds, making sure your little one is on a good routine and having a good sleep environment. And that can be done right from day one. And that's where we get a lot of parents using our nurturing program, because it's just a slow progression towards good sleep habits.
Beautiful.
And then some parents have kind of gone through the first few months and they're like at a point where baby's now having some issues with sleep and they're reaching out to us and they're like, when could I start a formal, like, let's break the habits that we've now put in place. When can I start that? And we can't do that before 16 weeks. So 4 months is the earliest you would want to implement a full-blown sleep training program where it's quick and get done fast. But I'll tell you, the little sweet spot I would say is between 6 and 8 months. And the reason why is because most babies have started solids by that point. So now parents are more confident that their little ones can do it and they're still not moving. Because when you wait past 8 months, now they're able to sit up, crawl, stand up, talk, walk, and now you've got way more challenges happening. So the earliest to sleep train fully is 16 weeks. That's when they can sleep through the night as long as they're eating well and a good schedule during the day. But 6 to 8 months is kind of like that little sweet spot. After 8 months, it just becomes more challenging for parents.
Yeah, and I think it, as you said, challenging for parents. I think parents start to have the hard time past 8 months when baby's sitting up, trying to get up, holding onto the crib and crying, and there's that emotional piece to it as well. Oh my goodness! But
well,
you
notice how many times I've said parents, right? When I do discovery calls with potential clients and we're having a chat about if this is right for them, they're always like, well, how do I know if my baby's ready? How do I know if my baby can do it? How do I know? And I'm like, listen, it's about you. It's really about you. Your baby will thrive as long as you're doing it safely and properly. But even if your baby is, beyond the age that I had said and eating really well and you're not ready, don't do it just because your mom, your friend, or Google told you you need to. You have to be ready.
You have to be ready. Yeah. You do have to be ready. I think each time with our kids, I was the one that was ready. My husband wasn't necessarily ready. I don't think he realized until our kids started sleeping through the night how much he needed it. So in the end, he thanked me for taking the lead. He's like, oh, I was kind of iffy about this. He's like, but oh my gosh. He's like, is this what it feels like to get a good night's sleep? I'm like, right? Like it changes your world. And I think, as you said, Deb, parents have to be ready for it, because I have friends and colleagues whose kids are still up at two, coming in and out every day out of their bedroom. And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, how do you do it? How do your kids sleep for so long? I'm like, because I had that foundational help at about that sweet spot around 6 to 7 months. I did that sleep teaching with my kids because I knew that I need sleep. I'm not a good person without sleep. So never any judgment.
This is about thriving, not surviving. And if you're thriving and you're doing well, keep doing it. But so here's a little segue, because I know we want to talk about some nutrition as well. And I've mentioned how nutrition can impact babies in terms of how they're sleeping and toddlers and how they're sleeping. But I will say that a lot of times we go through this sleep program, we get the babies on a really good schedule, a good routine, they're eating well, and they're sleeping great. And then parents realize they're struggling to sleep now because they've been sleeping with one eye open for 6 months or a year. So I love the topic that we're talking about, not only sleep for babies and kids, but also even for the parents, because that's a common issue is now they can sleep better, but they don't know how. And they don't even know that nutrition can impact them and their kids on how they're sleeping. So tell me maybe a few things about that, because I'd love to learn too. What kinds of things could we do during the daytime, either if it's for our kids or for the parents? What kinds of things can we include to help facilitate that?
Oh, for sure. So, it's a great question, Deb. I think people often miss that connection. So for myself, I primarily work with women postpartum. So I kind of like that same sweet spot you're talking about. That's when I like to start working more hand in hand with moms, especially because baby's starting to sleep through that night. I want to start to support them as well, because they're not breastfeeding as much, because when you're breastfeeding, playing with your nutrition is not really the best thing at that point. We want to just make sure we're eating and we're supporting that, that milk supply as much as possible. So when it comes to sleep, when we start thinking about sleep for ourselves, parents, one of the things I always attack first, I always discuss caffeine. So what does your caffeine intake look like during the day? A lot of us maybe we're doing caffeine later on in the day to kind of, keep our eyes open later into the night. And once baby starts sleeping, it's one of those things that I start to talk about maybe pulling back if you're caffeine sensitive after a certain cutoff point in the day. So like for me, I know if I have caffeine past 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm done. I'm up all night. I'm like an owl, like all night. So caffeine is definitely one of those things. I'm caffeine sensitive. That's out the door. um Carbohydrates, so carbs is one of those things that I know, sometimes especially moms and sometimes dads, we like to have that sweet treat when our kids go down. We're like, oh, and we have like a bowl of ice cream or we have a little bit of chocolate. So things like simple carbs actually don't help our sleep very well. So if we really are struggling with our sleep, then we want to have things. I work with parents and moms, and I talk about complex carbs, so things like even like having like really homemade granola, or like a great whole grain type food before heading down. Or even some moms even have like a little bit of bowl of rice with some beans in there to help sustain them. I talk about things like fueling your body to helping your body stay asleep. Complex carbs will help your blood sugar remain stable, and you really do get a better night's sleep. Even nuts, things like nuts before bed, not right before bed, but about an hour, are very helpful. And then we start to attack things like using other foods, such as like tart cherry juice. Like tart cherry juice is one of those secret weapons that people don't often think about. There's been absolute research that has shown that tart cherry juice has really helped with people's sleep if they have it close to their bedtime. Don't guzzle it because you'll get up and end up peeing, but like a little cup, a little swig before you go down has been shown to be helpful. And then we talk about specific nutrients. So things like zinc and tryptophan, those are the things, and magnesium, those are the things at nighttime that will start to help. And I like to use foods first and supplements after. So we work on the foods that contain those things and helping parents to get that better night's sleep. The interesting thing with food, though, is they still haven't really figured out how much and for how long before, or is it like a week? Is it a depletion in the body that affects the sleep? So with nutrition, there's always research happening and more science, but those are kind of the key things with parents that I like to attack, and I like to go down line by line to work through to figure out what works for them, because it's not a one approach fits all, which I'm sure you know with sleep teaching. It's every child, every family dynamic is different, and so we have to work through that and helping our parents to figure that out, especially our mamas.
I think the issue is this: we're not losing sleep because we're working too much or we're under stress, emotionally. I think a lot of it is very different for new moms. Is one is they're healing after having a baby.
Yeah.
So that's really challenging on your body. And
Yeah.
two, they don't have time to make themselves some nutritious meals. So like you said, the little ones go down and now we're shoving whatever we can in our mouths. Can you maybe give us 2 or 3 ideas of what a new mom could do, maybe on a prep day, on a Sunday, of what they could maybe have in their fridge, so when it becomes the evening time, they can go and do some of these quick grabs?
Oh, absolutely. So I like to make quick little snack bags. So literally on prep day, you can make that trail mix for yourself, right? You can put in those nuts. You can put in, dried tart cherries. You can even make those type of trail mixes, put them in a little Ziploc bags, write days on there, have it really easy. Cut up some fruits with the skin on, cut them up, put them in little, I have these cute little Ziploc jars that you can twist. Put those in the fridge and line them up. Make it very simple. You're absolutely right, Deb. When you're exhausted, the first thing you grab is whatever gets your hand, right? So do those things. Bake those type of really high fiber muffins for yourself on a Sunday. Take them out, put them in individual bags, or freeze them if you'd like, and take them out as time goes on during the week. Prep as much as you can when you get those spurts of energy, so that in those moments when you don't have the energy, you can just pull them out of the fridge and grab them really easily. And you can just find really simple, Costco has some great granola bars, just making sure they're not high in sugar. Don't feel guilty like you have to make everything from scratch. Like, not everyone's going to make stuff from scratch. Just go get a great granola bar. Like, look at it. Everyone's like, oh, but Jady, I don't make stuff from scratch. I'm like, neither do I. Like, I pull out stuff out of freezer bags all the time. Like, that's life. We're busy.
Yes.
So also just take your time, read the labels, make sure you find a really good one, and just don't feel guilty. Just pop that and eat it, and you're on your way.
Yeah, and you know what?
It's
This is
about
a
the
great
simplest
idea. This
things.
is a great idea. We always tell parents, you know what? Don't feel bad about asking for help. And I'll tell you, how many times has someone offered to help, and we're like, oh no, no,
Oh,
we're
no, no,
fine.
that's okay.
Give them a recipe. Can you make me these muffins? I don't have time, and they're really good now. You can make them
Absolutely.
for me, right? I have another quick
Absolutely.
question. What about the old, wise tale of milk before bed, warm milk? Does that help or does that hinder?
No, it actually does help. So warm milk, things like especially turkey and chicken, tuna, I wouldn't encourage cheese, but cheese, nuts, oats, those things contain what we call tryptophan. So tryptophan is like a precursor. It's part of creating serotonin, and serotonin is what helps to relax us and helps to sleep. So it's not a wise tale at all. It actually does help. So if mom or whomever wants to have a nice warm cup of milk, I would even say, because I'm a oils girl. I use essential oils. Having some lavender oil on your foot bottom with some comfy. Look at my socks. With some comfy socks. You're in your zone. Blackout blinds in your room, calm, no electronics. It's just a beautiful piece. It's kind of like what you're talking about, Deb. So I talk about nutrition, but I also talk about the surrounding environment with
Yeah.
sleep with parents as well. Like if
Well,
you
that's
have
that's
all the lights
exactly.
on and you're on your laptop, it doesn't matter how much tart juice you could bathe in that thing and it won't work if
Mhm.
you're not setting up your environment like a cool room, not too hot. Like all of these things are a part of the conversation that I always have, especially with mamas.
That's great. I actually teach parents once we've done our program and they need to learn how to sleep. I actually coach them on sleeping. And one of the things I teach them is sleep hygiene. And when I
Yes,
explain to them, they don't get it. It's yes about the room environment and all that, but what I tell them is stop doing stuff in your bed. Your
yes,
brain wants to hit the pillow and go to sleep. But instead,
yes.
we hit the pillow and we watch TV, we read a book, we look at our iPads, we eat. So what happens is our brain learns, hit the pillow, watch TV, eat, read a book, and it never learns. It takes you hours to fall asleep. So what I suggest to parents is do those things maybe in a chair next to your bed, 20, 30 minutes, and then get in your bed, close the lights,
That's
and
it.
go to bed. Because you're actually conditioning your brain. You're so tired and I just want to go to sleep. Why won't my brain shut
Shut
off?
off.
Because we've been doing all these things in our beds.
Yes.
So just take it
Yep.
out of the bed into a chair and you'll have an easier time sleeping. I do have one other question for you.
Yes.
Overnight, moms who maybe are breastfeeding and they're waking
Yes.
up 3 or 4 times in the night, is it a good thing or a bad thing for them to be snacking overnight? Or maybe it's neither.
I would say I would ask more about that question. So if mom's just getting up because mom's getting up to hear if baby is awake or fussy, then no. But if mom is getting up to breastfeed and you're spending time breastfeeding, I would absolutely encourage moms to snack. A small snack, like have some nuts beside them, have that granola bar beside them. The same things we talked about during the day is the same things mom can have. And I used to set up my table. Like I had a little bedside table beside my rocking chair in my child's nursery, and it had my snack. So when I put baby down, I would put the snack in the room so that it was there when I sat in the chair to breastfeed, that I didn't have to scramble and go and search. I had it right there. I would drink water because I was so thirsty with breastfeeding. And I would also have a little snack. We're not going to have a full-on burrito in the middle of the night, but we're going to have a little snack to get us through,
That's good.
because it'll help us also sleep. It'll also help us to sleep better when we get back to bed. We've breastfed, we're calm, or we've bottle fed, and we're calm, and we're going back to bed.
That's good to know because I think a lot of mothers worry, if I'm eating 2 or 3 times a night, is that going to make me gain weight? Is that going to be bad for my sleeping? So that's good to know that they can eat if they're waking up and breastfeeding.
I tell moms all the time, the first 6 months before you start to introduce solids is not the time to worry about weight gain. We will handle that together, hand in hand, when you're ready. Don't worry about that, especially if you're a breastfeeding mom. The last thing you need to do is be worrying about that. It will all come together.
Good,
And I always reassure moms, I'm like, you're doing okay.
good.
You're taking care of a whole new life. You're sorting out your life. This is not the time to worry about that one piece. We
Yeah.
will handle that in months to come.
I
Don't
think
worry, I'm here.
when it comes to nutrition for moms and when it comes to sleep for babies, planning and preparation and consistency are key for both. And I know I love that you said you have your little snacks beside your bed because I tell parents to do that in the daytime, because what happens is we go to sit down in our special chair in the living room. We spend 20 minutes finally getting baby to latch at the breast. Now they're latched and we're stuck there for 45 minutes and I can't get to the fridge. So I always say near whatever you breastfeed, have a little basket with some water and some nuts and some treats so that it's always right there. Because
Always.
if you have it in front of you, you're going to eat well throughout the day instead of
Yes.
binge eating bad stuff at night. So
Yes.
really good tips. I'm so glad
Yes.
that we're able to chat today about these two topics.
Yes. Thank you, Deb, so much. And again, just before we go, please tell people where they can find you on Instagram or how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, they can find us on Precious Moments Babies on Instagram. They can also look up my personal private message, which was in your post, or my personal Instagram account. Precious Moments Babies Ontario is our Facebook, and our website is babeez.ca, so they can find us anywhere there. And Jady, I know that we're going to post this video on our feeds later, so if you can share the same as well, so that our
Yes.
viewers can reach out to you if they're looking for some nutrition guidance.
Absolutely. So you can find me at the Green Table Mom on Instagram, and that's really where you'll find me. My website's in my bio link if you ever need to get a hold of me on my website. Super simple. Well,
Awesome.
Deb, thank you so much for coming on and sharing such great information. For me, I know that it's solidified, and I'm so like I can say as a mom on the other end of having children that have been sleep trained or being putting on a sleep schedule, it is absolute bliss, and you will never ever regret connecting with someone like Deb to ask those questions, to have those consults. You'll never leave it with regret. It'll change your life. Like I became
You
a
know,
different person.
in the past, I always used to walk on eggshells when I made this comment about, don't do it by yourself. We're all here to help. But now I'm really specific because I don't think the message is getting out there. I tell parents, if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong.
You are
Do not do it by
100.
yourself, right?
100.
We are all here. We even had some of our own colleagues joining on this live today. We are all here as part of your village to do this with you. The village is broken down, and for some reason, we think we're supposed to do it ourselves. And if we don't, we failed. Not true. If you're doing it yourself, you're doing it wrong. So JD, myself, all of our colleagues, we're here to help all the parents out there that need it. Don't feel like you're by yourself.
Absolutely. All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks, Deb. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.